the beginning of game number 2 right here.
An important side out there, Dave, for John Bike and Chris Watkins. You may ask why, but these teams are wrestling for momentum here. Team Bike and Watkins, they have to be careful not to become complacent after that great first game win. You know that the Irish will come out with a surge of energy. There's just a great controlled ceiling shot from John Bike. Handcuffs Duxie Walsh there on that right side wall. This is, Dave, the Irish first match here in this event. They had a bye into the quarterfinals. We know that they flew just about 8,000 miles to get here. A lot of times, Dave, the first round is the toughest. Trying to get your bearings, adjust to the speed of the ball in the court. Certainly not making excuses for them, but it's just how it is. John Bike very focused between games, Dave. I saw him drinking that mix that he puts together.
It's like electrolytes and water and Gatorade, kind of his own solution that he has. There should be a screen call there, no? John wanted to, looked like he had to run through a pick in order to get to that ball. John Bike has tremendous power. Wearing the red shirt, his doubles partner Chris Watkins, Waddy Dog from the High Desert, is wearing the gray shirt.
The ageless Irish, Dave, not able to end many rallies with kill shots here. They ended only 7 rallies in that first game with kills, as opposed to Team Bike and Watkins, who ended 18 rallies with kills. That's that courtesy of Dave of the newlywed, Jean Kasamoto-Kastner. She's tracking everything, Dave, including airs. That's John Bike's only 8th air here in this match.
Listen for the score. 0 serves 1. This is Duxie Walsh serving to Chris Watkins in the gray shirt. His doubles partner, Tom Sheridan.
That's one of those in-between serves, Dave, where you're not sure is the right side play, whether to take it before it gets to the right side wall or not. Little congestion there. Duxie takes the shot and misses it.
But that's the shot Duxie wants, though.
There was a little bit of contact there. Our referee let the play continue. The player actually could call contact there before he swung, but you'll see most players want that shot with their right hand. We'll see some athleticism there from the dog.
I like that shot right there from John Bike.
John Bike takes that wraparound back to the ceiling, and Duxie Walsh threads the needle there, finds the hole there in the defense. Chris Watkins covering the right front court there. John Bike just a little bit behind that restraining line, and Duxie found the opening.
If you're watching this live webcast, get on the email and attach the link so your friends could watch, or call them up, text message, get onto your favorite social network site, however you want to do it, but tell your friends about this handball match. We'll have one more pro doubles quarterfinal match coming up. It'll be Team Eddie, that's Eddie Chapa and Eddie Severa, versus Team Munoz Chavez, who are actually trying to get the 4-peat or the repeat squared
Can we just say Facebook or Twitter rather than your favorite social networking site?
Okay.
I mean, is it?
I don't want to be biased toward any social site and also endorse any particular site. Are you offended because I didn't bring up Jewish Friend Finder?
Those are
I know it's in your favorite
sites.
5.
Any site that you're required to pay a membership to, Dave, is
still social
separate
networking
entity.
It's
I
still
don't
social
consider it
networking.
one.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, I pay for my phone service, and text message is a social network.
Not necessarily. A Twitter would be, and you can Twitter from your phone. I see your point.
Score is 1-2. Lead for Team Ireland here.
Beautiful shot there from the dog. I called him by his nickname. Able to turn his right hip all the way through that ball there and kill that ball into the right corner, Dave. That's exactly what he does on the first 4 holes. Works that right hip through the hitting zone on the tee box and then just brings that same technique into the handball court when he hits that revolving door kill. John Bike, actually known as one of the worst golfers to ever play the game. He started losing to his 8-year-old son about 3 or 4 years ago. Hasn't beat him since.
Did he lose to his 8-year-old son 4 years ago when his son was 4? Or was his son?
The son was 8 at the time.
Okay, he's 12 now.
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay. Just asking because I'm all about specifics.
You're curious as well, which is good.
Well, it only killed the kitten curiosity.
Here's a big setup here for John, and that ball squelches. It's one of the first balls we've seen squelch here. Duxie with an Irish whip. Straight in kill down the right wall.
These extended rallies actually benefit Team Ireland, in my opinion. Although Tom Sheridan has that bad calf, it doesn't really look like, that is hurting that team right now. Duxie Walsh is just taking control right now.
Well, Dave, it's more difficult to take control from the right side, and I have seen Tom Sheridan favoring that calf a little bit. He hasn't moved forward quite as well as I saw him moving in June. Dave, you've never been on the left side, but much more difficult to control the action from the right side.
The score is 4-2. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Is it Leafed? Like James Comstock? Leaf? Left? I don't know how to say it.
I would say James Comstoft.
I'm talking about playing the leaf side of the handball court in doubles.
Not sure I'm following you, nor do I want to. Trying to concentrate on this match.
Just responding to what you said. That's how I do it.
There's a bad air there from Chris Watkins. Looked like he changed his mind there in mid-swing.
2 of the 3 webcast viewers right now actually understood what I was saying. Still there. You're watching
Watkins floors an easy back wall setup there on that overhit serve. Hear a lot of clapping in there, Dave.
5-2. Score is now 5-2. You're starting to see Team Ireland wake up here. And more specifically, Duxie Walsh. He missed that shot, but he was off by just a half of an inch.
It was a huge momentum swinger right there, Dave. If Duxie converts that kill, the Irish are up 6-2 and still serving. Now it's the Californians serving at 2-5 with 2 servers. The mistakes, Dave, are magnified in doubles. That's a bullet down the right wall, and Duxie digs it out. And I think you know what I'm saying, Dave. If you make a mistake in doubles and give your opponents the side out, they're coming in with 2 serves.
You are not going to pound a ball past Duxie Walsh. That ball just hits John Bike right in the face. That now makes, out of all the matches that we've had today, everybody's been hit except for you. I don't think in your match against Alan Garner there was a
Wasn't
face
hitting
shot.
the face. Took one in the back of the leg.
2 serves 5. Wow, look at that hop serve right there. John Bike's so twisted up on that magic liquid concoction that he's drinking that he didn't even know the ball hit him in the face.
I think you know what it means to be twisted on a liquid concoction.
Well, it helps me
You've
hang
been down
on.
that road.
It helps me hang on. I actually paved that road. The score here is 2-5. Chris Watkins serving the ball. His doubles partner is John Bike. This is the men's quarterfinals. They're playing against the current pro U.S. national doubles champions residing in Ireland. Duxie Walsh and Tom Sheridan. Tom Sheridan from County Meath.
There's a great view of the action from the truck. Chris Watkins comes in with a fly paddle left-handed kill. That was right off the heel of his hand, Dave, and he was intending to hit that ball there. Here's another opportunity. Chooses to hit that shot too well, and there's a mistake. This is I was going to say the bread and butter there for Duxie Walsh, Dave, but he makes a strange error. Most of the errors you see, Dave, from these top players, that you'll see them miss a setup by 1 or 2 inches. That ball missed by 7 or 8 feet. Nice hop serve there from Chris. And Chris just barely skipping that ball. That's a poor error there, Dave, for Chris. He had that set up. He really was starting to establish himself here during this run. Now it'll be Chris here again. Chris will leave that ball for John Bike, and there's a nice shoulder-high Irish whip kill from Duxie Walsh. Duxie Walsh, Dave, just coming off that 30x60 season in Ireland. The results of that are very secret, so we've not been informed of that, but we do know that they were training over there. You'll never know who won or who played, but 10 years later we hear that someone has 12 national titles.
In 10 years, huh? 12 titles in 10 years?
That's how it happens. I'm sure they have doubles and singles and different balls.
It's part of the underground tour that we have.
Every country has one.
They find out who enters a tournament, and then they announce if it's a national championship or there's prize money.
John Bike looking awkward there, but brings the ball back. That's a nice get there from the dog.
That was with his offhand. Dug out, but not good enough from John Bike. That's just half out up there.
I've actually moved the TV into viewing range myself, Dave, and I can actually see what's happening in the court now as opposed to just guessing. My eyesight's not good.
What happened to the upstate New York Greenwich Village glasses that you normally wear?
Forgot them in the room.
Huh. Thought you were reading poetry the last time I saw you, but you were just preparing for the webcast. No offense, although I meant for it to be offensive.
In that case, I take offense.
Really?
I took it as a compliment initially.
Well, I take back the last part of the first half of what I said.
Okay.
The part that wasn't offensive at the time. Oh, look at that dig right there from Chris Watkins. They go right back at him. John Bike pulls it out, though. Now they're targeting Chris. Unbelievable. You hear
one of the most incredible points that we've seen, ending in an unbelievable miscommunication between the Irish. A ball that was sitting on a tee, and they didn't even take a swing at it.
Both players, John and Chris Watkins, were pinned to the left, so all you had to do was just touch it to the right side of the court. Plays like that make me think that I actually could go in there and play just as good as that.
I think you could play just as well as not swinging at a ball that came right to you.
That's how I meant it. Score now 5-5. There was a bad bounce there.
The floor is very slippery in there, Dave. There's certain spots that are unbelievably slick, but yet there's no condensation visibly. It's difficult to describe. I think they might have just redone the floors here, and there's some real slick spots where you can feel your feet give out from underneath you. Could be a factor of the condensation in the air. I actually think that there's some spots in the floor that are just real slick. John takes that ball to the ceiling. There's a back wall set up here. John does well to put Duxie back into the backcourt, gives him the setup. John's just got such great hands up there in the front, Dave. And Chris, big mistake, but Duxie doesn't shoot it. He'll get another opportunity. Incredibly, Dave, Duxie's had 3 really great opportunities to shoot the ball in that rally. He chose to wrap the ball and hit deep 2-wall passes rather than shoot it. You have to wonder if he's a little bit gun shy to shoot the ball after putting 2 straight shots into the floor. His partner picks him up there at the end of that rally. That was a 41-shot rally that Tom Sheridan ended with a left corner kill. Now a quick ace there from Duxie Walsh. Incredibly, Dave, Duxie's hit consecutive ace serves with just the same serve he served for the entire match. There's a big setup. Since that left corner kill from Tom Sheridan that tied the score at 5, Dave, we've seen the Irish reel off 2 quick points on ace serves. Chris shoots that ball from deep. Duxie paddles that ball into the left corner. You hear Tom Sheridan there. Really not his place to say anything. John Bike has the right to talk to the referee.
Score now is 8-5. This is game 2. John Bike and Chris Watkins pulled off the first game upset. A lot of handball to be played, especially when you're playing against the great Duxie Walsh and current national champions, Tom Sheridan. Taking a quick timeout. You're watching the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball alongside Dave Fink. I'm Dave Vincent here at the Los Caballeros Sports Village in Fountain Valley, California, where we have had now 4 of these tournaments. Started off in the inaugural year of 2006 when Nate Alvarado Jr. lost in that close tiebreaker to Paul Brady. Paul wins the next year against Sean Lennon when that game was really close, controversial call in the mind of Sean Lennon. When he was up in that tiebreaker, Paul Brady came back and won in that second year. Third year, Paul Brady loses in the quarterfinals. That made way for some younger talent. We thought for a moment when Luis Moreno was up big against Sean Lenning and then lost. Sean goes on to make the finals, but he loses to Tony Healy. That's 2008. 2009 was the World Championships, pretty much scheduled for the same weekend, maybe a weekend earlier. So they decided to put the U.S. Open on hold, kind of adopt the championship up there in the Worlds, and that winner was Paul Brady over Alan Garner in the finals. And then here we are in that 4th year of the U.S. Open finals of the men's singles, the women's singles, and the doubles, plus all the different age divisions will be all figured out sometime on Sunday. And if you are watching this live webcast, please do us a favor, tell all of your friends, and also support us by either making a donation at thehandballstore.com or purchasing a membership. If you're not a member and you are watching the live webcast, consider it, please.
Men's singles semifinals are set for tomorrow, Dave. It'll be top-seeded David Chapman taking on 5th-seeded Sean Lenning. Those two have had a nice history together since Dave Chapman made his comeback. Sean winning that first match and Dave's comeback convincingly in the 2008 Simple Green U.S. Open. Dave coming back to defeat Sean the next week, and they've gone back and forth, Dave, throughout the last 2 years. That's certainly an intriguing matchup. In the bottom half, it's Luis Moreno taking on his really arch nemesis, Dave, and Alan Garner. He's beat Alan only one time in their pro career. That was in Alaska. Alan beating Luis 10 times out of 11 matches. Chance for Luis tomorrow to exact some revenge on Alan.
The most recent loss, I believe, unless there was a tournament after that, which is probably the case, Luis lost to Alan Garner there at the Collegiate World Championships in Tempe, but then I think a couple weeks later in Tucson they might have played each other at that Y2K event. Might have been the other way around. But in either case, Luis Moreno just has not been able to get past Alan Garner. Maybe this is the year.
Mistake there for Chris Watkins. Chris Watkins, Dave, missing a setup at 5-4 during a nice run that Team Watkins and Bike have put together, and they haven't scored since. It's been all Irish. John Bike looked like a little bit of a miss hit there. Fortunate break. That ball rolling out, and there's an ace from Tom Sheridan. Catches that deep right sidewall crack. Doesn't look like the dog's feet are moving all that well right now, Dave. Not sure if it's a conditioning problem or just could be a little bit flat right now, Dave, and that's what you worry about when you see all that emotion during that first game. We saw a lot of fist pumping and, you know, celebrating after good shots, and very difficult to maintain that level of intensity. That's why you see all the great athletes, they very even keeled throughout a match. You won't see any kind of emotion until the championship is won. You don't see Roger Federer fist pumping and yelling at himself to keep pushing.
Score here is 13-5 in favor of Team Ireland. There's another nice shot there for Chris Watkins. It's been a little dry spell, but
very similar to the first game here, Dave, when Team Bike and Watkins raced to a big lead. Now it's the Irish with the big lead. You get the sense, Dave, that this is the inning that Team Bike and Team Watkins need to score some points. Otherwise, this game could get away quickly. Chris handcuffed by that ball. Duxie sends it back to the ceiling, and John just barely misses the ceiling there.
Chris Watkins told me that he had to learn that back wall kill shot because he was playing against John Robles, Nadi Alvarado, and John Bike, and Nadi Sr. locally at the High Desert Athletic Club. And he said, you know, if you don't learn how to make that shot, you're just not going to be in the court with these guys.
Chris Watkins scoring consecutive points, driving that ball down the left side wall. That ball catching the left side crack. Tom Sheridan playing for that ball to shoot straight down the wall, and it came across his body. You saw Tom Sheridan make that awkward dive and unable to pick that ball up. I believe the score is 7-13. That's a tough shot there from Chris Watkins. It's wonderful when you can make that shot. Very difficult to keep that ball down, particularly with a sidearm swing. And John Bike coolly and calmly executes that front wall, back wall kill shot. Is there a name for that shot, Dave, when the ball hits the front wall and then the back wall on a fly? I'll let you think about that.
We can make up one.
Sounds like something we do.
Surprised we haven't done it yet.
And this is crucial here for John Bike and Chris Watkins. They're just in their first server in this inning. They've already scored 4 points. Chris really with an amazing...
Sound like a broken ball right there.
Amazing serve, Dave. He's sort of got that Nadi Alvarado Jr. classic technique on that serve. He's got the great footwork and nice long swing, lets the ball drop, and the ball just explodes off his hand and also explodes off the front wall. He's got a nice wrinkle on that ball, and he runs that ball hard and low down the walls.
I played against him, John Bike, in fact, and I defeated Chris and John Robles to win the 35 Nationals here at Los Cab in 2009, and Chris's serve down the right is tremendous. He has a wrinkle that goes both ways, but it works against a guy like me playing the right, but it doesn't really work against Duxie Walsh. He has to go out over to the left and try to pick on Tom, and then it dawns on you that he's actually picking on Tom, which is also equally as hard. But his serve is tremendous, and especially if he goes down the middle against these guys that both have off hands sitting out in the middle of the court. He did that for a couple points in the first game. I'd like to see him go back to that one right down the middle. It's definitely more of a single serve, but we've seen him with a lot of success here in this doubles match serving down the walls, particularly in the last 4 points serving down the right wall to Duxie. You see Chris gets just enough natural on that ball to run it down the wall. Chris misplaying that left fist, just over-hitting it, Dave. Had the lane to shoot that ball down the left, and he blasted it about 12 feet off the back wall. Huge wrinkle there from John Bike. That was also vintage Tom Sheridan putting that ball away, too.
Great angle here. Surprised we're not seeing John Bike step in and take more of those return of serves out of the air, Dave. He's forcing a lot of... John's forcing a lot of weak returns with those huge hops. That was actually a replay there. That ball skidded off the floor. No argument from Team Bike and Duxie. And there's another one, Dave, you see. Now John takes care of that ball off the back wall, but really you have to hit a perfect back wall shot, Dave, to end the rally from there with both guys having the time to move back into the front court. If he takes that return of serve out of the air, he's got both guys behind him. Much better chance to end the rally.
You saw after that serve, Tom Sheridan take a look at the ball to see if it was wet. Look at that dump right there from John Bike.
And you hear Sheridan disgusted with that shot from John Bike. John Bike just trying to get that ball back, and it just sort of catches his fingertips and it rolls out. Not a good serve there from John. Catches that side wall. And Sheridan with a great return there. Buries that ball into the left corner. A great inning, though, there from John Bike and Chris Watkins. They score 6 to get themselves right back into this game. And Chris Watkins just crushes that return. And John Bike with another sort of a miss hit that finds the bottom board, as we say. And now it's the second server for the Irish. Tom going for that short crack on the left side wall, doesn't get it. That ball just picked up speed as it hit the back wall and got in a little bit too tight on John Bike's body for him to take a swing. That's just a beautiful shot there from Chris. I'm surprised he didn't take that ball out of the air. Not the right time for that behind the back shot there. He had his partner covering his back there. Big mistake there from Chris at a crucial moment here, Dave. Was 14-11. He lets that ball go. John can flip that ball up high and into the deep court. They've got a good chance to neutralize the rally, possibly earn the side out. And now it's an easy point for the Irish and 15-11.
Yeah, it looked like John and Chris were coming back, and now the Irish said, wait a second, we're the national champions.
There's a big difference, Dave, between coming into serve at 11-14 and now receiving serve at 15-11. We'll see if the Irish can take advantage of that miscue there from Chris Watkins.
15 serves 11 here.
Dave, we hear a lot about these practice matches that take place in the lake just north of here, but do John Bike and Chris Watkins play together a lot, or is that just sort of a pickup?
No, it's most of the time it's John Bike and Noddy Sr. versus Junior and Watkins, or they flip it around a little bit, but it's not his normal doubles partner. In fact, this is rare. It's Chris Watkins and John Robles versus John Bike and Noddy Jr. is 90% of most matchups.
Great shot there from Chris Watkins. Plays it safe and just crushed that ball off the back wall, Dave. That ball was in the low 80s, actually registering at 81 miles per hour on the gun. We're measuring that from the front wall. Chris Watkins serves that ball into the ground. Looked like he lost his footing just a little bit there, Dave, and completely mishit that ball in the bottom of his hand. I believe that will be the turning point in this second game. John Bike puts that ball right down the middle of the court. You see Tom Sheridan hitting the deck here quite a bit, making some retrieves. John Bike really breaks off that natural there. Second server here, Dave, for Team Bike and Chris Watkins. Chris Watkins came in and served his first serve into the ground. Beautiful shot there from John Bike. You don't see much evidence of that low calf strain from Tom Sheridan. He's thrown his body all over this stadium court here at Los Caballeros Sports Village.
Now Bike on a nice little run, 13-15, second game. Look at that little wrinkle. I thought that was over by 5 inches.
You know, Dave, even if you read that natural going into the sidewall, still very difficult to do anything with that ball.
See how John Bike backs into Tom Sheridan after that serve.
John reads that.
Oh, they're going to replay that. Tom
Definitely
Sheridan.
Do not agree with that call there, Dave.
Tom Sheridan lobbied for that.
I don't think Tom Sheridan actually saw that ball. Just because you're screened, Dave, doesn't mean it's a hinder. I don't think he had any play on that ball. Tom was at the short line. John just feathers that ball. That ball bounced 3 times before Tom had a play on that ball. Surprising call there from our head referee, but calling a pretty good game, Dave, and you know how difficult it is to call a doubles match at this level.
That was a nice shot right there from...
Just a clutch shot there from John Bike, who's no stranger to these clutch situations. Another weak return. It looks like, Dave, John Bike more comfortable taking that ball off the back wall than out of the air. John misses a very easy shot there.
Team Ireland stepping in now. That's Duxie Walsh serving here at 15-14. Wow, that's
could have been unavoidable there. Duxie Walsh actually backing into Chris Watkins there.
I mean, that should be an avoidable. If Duxie said they hit him half out, he's calling an avoidable. I think this is the right call. I hate to say it. I'm not saying this because I'm living in America.
Why do you hate to say it? It's no different than a foul in basketball.
If Duxie wouldn't have said that the ball hit him or he wouldn't have lobbied for that, then I don't think there's a problem here.
I agreed with the initial call. I thought it wasn't avoidable.
Then they've
seen the Irish actually talk their way into 2 calls here, Dave, in the last 3 rallies.
Duxie didn't turn his back to even see where Chris was at.
Good shot there from John Bike. Uses that front wall, sidewall kill, but you saw Tom Sheridan look up at the referee, Dave, after not getting that screen call on the John Bike dump re-kill, and then also reversing the call on that avoidable hinder. Our referee is an attorney by trade, Dave, and maybe he appreciates the good arguments being made in there. That's a poor error there from Chris Watkins. You certainly want to make your opponents earn every point. But you know, Dave, playing that right side, it's difficult when that ball comes into your left hand. You're not really warmed up to hit the ball with your left hand. You hit very few balls with your left hand from the right side of the court, so when you finally see a ball with your left hand, it's a little bit awkward. That's a nice pickup there from Chris, and
usually off balance, a little awkward.
And it's not to say Chris doesn't have a good left hand, Dave. It's just you're in the mode of digging balls and hitting balls with your right, and then you know you've got a ball with your left hand that sort of squelches out on that right side wall. You're trying to return that ball with your left, and now we have a timeout here after a side out. Team Bike and Watkins will be coming into the server's box with their first server trailing 14-16. If you're watching at home, Dave, Team Bike and Watkins did win that first game, 21-14. A little bit of a surprise, Dave. They're the number 7 seed here in this event, taking on the number 2 seed, the current USHA 4-wall national doubles champions.
I think it is a bit of a surprise.
If you were to watch, though, this match, Dave, having not known who's the current national doubles champion, you might say John Bike and Chris Watkins are the stronger team.
That's the way it looked in the first game. Here, though, they looked like it was out of reach for a short time, and then all of a sudden they made a comeback, and now Team Walsh just a couple points away from making it look like it's out of reach again.
Not sure about the out of reach. I mean, it is 15-14 here, so.
Well, the way I play, when somebody scores just 1 point ahead of me, I'm completely done with the match.
I have the same problem.
Huh.
That's why we're in the booth. I used to get complimented on my play, Dave. Now it's just being complimented on my announcing. So that should tell you all you need to know about my game. Don't even get an attaboy anymore. Just a, hey, you're really great on that webcast. We appreciate it, though.
Oddly, you get paid more playing handball, and kind of sad to even admit that. Don't know where I was going with that. I started off good, but then
I don't think it did start off.
Didn't know how to finish
that well. John Bike with the Fab 5 all black socks and shoes look. That's sort of his trademark. Duxie Walsh now wearing the Irish shirt there, the black and gold. Makes me feel at home, Dave, from the Steel City.
Well, we want you to feel at home. Your comfort is the listeners' and viewers' reward.
I can see that. You remember, Dave, the last time Chris Watkins served, he hit the ball straight into the ground. You know that's on his mind, Dave. Let's hope for his sake, Dave, he doesn't get his hand too far underneath this ball and lift it off the back wall. Scores 14-16. Here's a first serve for Chris Watkins after a first serve off that window. Here's a big setup here for Chris. He'll take this with his left. I don't like that shot there, Dave. And that's sort of what we've talked about here, Dave. Chris not really all that comfortable with his left, just having not hit many balls with his left here in this match. Went with sort of a stiff arm pass there with both players behind him. Took that shot from the service box area. Would have been an easy kill for him, either into that left corner or straight up the front wall. And Duxie Walsh just dominates that rally there. He pushes Chris back with a hard two-wall pass and then finishes off that weak return.
The score is 14-16, and that ball slid.
I disagree. I thought that was a good serve. That was an ace. No complaint there from the Irish.
You see John gave that little hook. My gosh, that hook is big. Gave that hook signal with his hand.
Nice shot there from John. Here's another back wall setup.
Good dig from Duxie Walsh.
Referee lets the play continue. I like that. John takes that ball back to the roof.
Uh-oh, John missed that shot. That ball hit, it didn't hit him?
No, he just managed to get out of the way there.
Oh, there's typical Duxie Walsh, and it sounds like the crowd is rooting for Team Ireland here. I think every Irish player in this tournament is in the grandstands here. 16-15, game 2. That's a nice shot right there. Bullet from John Pike.
And you see John still not taking that ball out of the air, Dave. A great opportunity here. This rally could have been over. And instead, Tom Sheridan ends the rally with a powerful drive behind John to the right. And you see these Irish, Dave, when they see John Pike on the right side, they just go right after him with power drives right at John's feet. Goes down. Duxie sends that ball right to the ceiling.
Oh, there's a nice shot right there from John Pike. That was one of your specials, Dave, that kind of sidearm at the hip.
John faked that he was going for the 3-wall wrap, had Tom Sheridan on his heels, and then drove that ball 3 or 4 inches high. Smart shot.
Like that return right there. That's a rare hand air right there.
Unbelievable call there. Duxie clearly took that shot, Dave. He missed it and then immediately looks up. If you're going to take that shot there, Dave, you can't take the shot and miss it and then look up. I just don't agree with that call. There's no way, Dave, that if that shot is good, that there's a slide call there. That ball's clearly by Duxie Walsh. That ball hit the sidewall 2 feet behind Duxie Walsh and about an inch high. I can't believe that they're replaying that. John rarely says a word to the referee, but that call's inexplicable.
Even if it didn't slide, it's still going to be a point, right?
It's an ungettable ball.
Nobody's drifting back to even attempt to get it.
You know, Dave, there comes a point when you just say play everything. And I think we might be at that point now because the inconsistencies in these slide calls are really affecting the flow of this game. It's certainly not what you want as a fan or as a player.
15 serve 17.
As we talked about, Dave, there's players hitting the ball with so much hook and so much velocity that, yeah, there will be times it hits the floor and takes off. Not necessarily a wet spot or a wet ball. Handball, Dave, actually the only sport where there's number 4 on the day in the face. Handball, the only sport, Dave, where you would replay a point because of some sort of bad bounce. You wouldn't see that in any other sport. Obviously, Dave, we have variables in the handball court that account for having to replay points, but
you're watching the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. John Bike and Chris Watkins from the High Desert won the first game 21-14. Game 2, they're trailing here.
Great serve there from Chris. He slides that ball straight down the right side wall. Duxie misplays that ball. I thought he'd let that ball get to the back wall, but didn't. And he goes right back at Duxie with the same serve and gets a big setup here. He should take care of this, and he misses it. He short arms that ball. That ball gets just a little bit behind him. You could see the nerves creep into that swing right there, Dave. Just did not extend out on that swing. That was a simple shot there. Chris had that lined up into the right corner. John falling back there. John sends that ball up, and this will be a powerful drive there from Tom. And look at those hands from John Bike. That's about as hard as we've seen a ball hit all match from Tom Sheridan. John just sticks his right hand out there and rolls that ball out.
We're all together at 17. Here's the setup. I like that shot right there. Dug out, though, from Tom Sheridan.
I actually did see a slide on this ball, Dave. It's funny here. I actually did see that ball slide on the sidewall there, Dave. That's the first slide that I've seen here in this match, and it wasn't called. So
that's because our camera's looking right at that wall. The previous other 7, who knows?
Team Bike now 3 points from this big upset here. That's a great shot there from Chris Watkins. Looked like he was just trying to play that ball back down the left side. Just catches it on the bottom of his hand and it rolls out. Followed by an enthusiastic
Chris Watkins. This is unbelievable. 19-17. This game's going to end on a slide ball, I have a feeling. I hate to be so you in normal life. Now it's becoming crazy.
I actually felt like the court was becoming a safety issue, Dave, for the players during my match. I was the 4th match of the day in there. You could feel the slickness of the floor, also the walls.
Those balls are sliding up high now. That means it's the whole wall. Everything is slick when it goes 15 feet off the ground and is sliding. And that's a timeout call here. Game number 2. It was John Bike and Chris Watkins from the High Desert defeating Duxie Walsh and Tom Sheridan, current pro national champions in the first game, 21-14. Here, though, in the second game, it's Bike and Watkins with a nice comeback to go bring the score to 19-17.
Let me ask you, Dave, would you rather be the team serving at 17-19 with the first serve, or would you rather be receiving at 17-19? It's an interesting dilemma.
I'll take the points.
Okay.
I'll take the points. It's the best thing I could say there.
Certainly, we worry about this court as the weekend progresses with this weather that we're having, and also all the play in the court. This is the first server here for the Irish, Dave, trailing 17-19. Lost the first game. Surprised John didn't let that come off the back wall. And Duxie goes for his patented right corner kill. Wow. That was actually a fist kill Irish whip from the chest height. So the first kill we've seen from that angle from Tom Sheridan in this match.
Here's a setup.
And John puts himself in a perfect position there. Anticipated that right corner kill there from Duxie Walsh, and that ball just flattened out. And Chris Watkins immediately calling a timeout there. The Irish came in and scored 2 quick points. We saw the Irish calling that timeout at 17-19, wanted to come in focused and regrouped for this inning.
Now, John Bike is one of the organizers of this tournament. He and his family, along with the Alvarados, putting on a great show, and they've been jumping into the courts and mopping down the floors as well as the walls. I've seen John on the floor here multiple times during other players' matches. Is he cleaning off the floor as a player or as the organizer here, Dave?
I'm not going to answer something like that. We're at 19-19 here in the second game, and I just don't want to go down that road.
So are you scolding me right now?
I would call it
a scold.
I would call it that.
Okay.
I would say as a tournament organizer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just wanted to know.
But I'm not happy to say that. Still first server here for the Irish, Dave. Duxie Walsh, who's won over 130 national championships in his life. You think I kid, but I'm not.
19 serves 19. That's not even in dog years. Look at that dive right there from Chris Watkins, who got hit by the ball. Did the ball slide, or did it?
I thought it hit Chris Watkins while he was on the floor.
He's calling a hinder on.
I don't understand the call. I didn't see the hinder. Chris Watkins on the ground.
Did the ball hit Chris?
I thought it did.
I thought the replay call was because it looked like it slid, but the ball hit, but now he's saying it was a hinder. But it was John Bike who had to hit that shot, and if anything, the hinder would have been on his own partner. That was John Bike's ball. The ball went over the top of Chris, drilled by Tom Sheridan, right to John Bike, over the top of Chris. It looked like it clipped his foot. They're calling a hinder on this, I think.
Very strange play there. We're not sure, Dave, exactly what happened.
19-19.
We're all together at 19 here. Duxie is the first server, right?
That's right. That's a tough serve there. Chris followed that ball around 4 walls. Just barely was able to pick that ball up. Here's the back wall setup. John wanted to get his left hand on that ball, and that ball just angled into that right side wall. It took it with his right. We've seen him make that shot 5 times here in this match, Dave, but that time he skips it. And just a gift there for for Duxie Walsh and Tom Sheridan. Now it's game point, still first server. And
there it is, Duxie Walsh and Tom Sheridan force the tiebreaker here. We are going to go 3. This is the first tiebreaker of the day for us. No second one, sorry. This is the first in the doubles in these later rounds. Duxie Walsh and Tom Sheridan losing the first game 21-14. Coming back for game number 2, though, winning 21-19 versus Chris Watkins and John Bike. For Jeff Kastner and Dave Fink, my name is Dave Vincent. We're going to take a quick time out here at Los Caballeros Sports Village for the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball men's quarterfinals in the pro doubles, and it is on fire. We'll be back for game number 3, the decisive tiebreaker. Stick with us. WPHLive.com.